na wonke umuntu okhona la nomndeni wakakok esihlangene ngawo ngoba sizokuhonora nawo namhlanje kulomnyanya. I want to take this opportunity, Program Director, and greet with much appreciation and gratitude to our government for recognizing this Heritage Day and also choosing this very same municipality and honoring one of our heroes. He's a hero within the institution of traditional leaders, Ubaba Adam Kok, and we are very proud as the institution of traditional leaders and honored that you have honored this family, Yaga Adam Kok. We also want to thank you. We also want to thank this national government for inviting traditional leaders and the National House, and remembering that traditional leaders are custodians of culture and customs and traditions of our communities. It really deserves to be noted that Ubukosi had always been part of the struggles, battles, and wars which were aimed at preserving, protecting, and promoting our heritage in this great nation of ours. The practice of our traditions, culture, and customs have been instrumental in that regard. During this month of September, which is also known as Heritage Month, all of us are aware that Ubukhosi and traditional communities will be celebrating their diverse cultural practices. Some will be having the first harvest, celebrating the first fruit celebrations. Others will be celebrating their heritages throughout the country. In other areas, traditional communities will organize and fund their own events owing to lack of support, while others do get support from their municipalities and government departments. And Honorable Deputy President, I am proud that from the province that you come from, you made sure that traditional leaders and their communities will celebrate Heritage and Cultural Day with full support of government in all forms. In some communities, it is not only about celebrating culture and traditions, but also about the commemoration of the fallen heroes of their communities who lost their lives fighting for the welfare and preservation of their communities. Some lost their lives in the battles and wars, while others were incarcerated and executed or assassinated. Their graves stand as monuments, and some have statues erected in their remembrance for generations to see. It is at this stage where I need to pause and plead to say to the President or the Deputy President, who is acting as the President, and the Deputy Minister of Arts and Culture, the African Heritage Liberation route that the Minister of Arts and Culture is leading will be incomplete without recognizing the role Amakhosi played in the liberation of this country. I therefore call upon the Minister to consider integrating traditional leadership heritage in the African Liberation Route Heritage Program. I'm saying this because traditional leaders fought fearlessly and died in protecting our land and in protection of this country. Dispossessions and the fight for liberation started the day the settlers and trekkers arrived in this country. Our forefathers fought different wars of resistance in protection of their land and cattle. Please allow me to take you through some of these wars, a few of them. Let me remind all of us here today that we surely can never forget the fierce wars fought by Griqua, a Xhosa traditional leader at Kat River in 1817. We cannot forget the attack on Dlambe in 1818 and the seizure of 23,000 head of cattle by the British from the Xhosa community. We cannot forget the warrior Makhanda Kanqele, who led the attack of 6,000 warriors on Grahamstown. We can also not forget Maqoma, who raided cattle on white farms in 1829. We cannot forget the murder of Hinsa by the British. And we also cannot forget the defeat of the Ndebelers under Mzilikazi in 1837 by Hendrik Potgieter and the taking over of the land between Limpopo and the Vaal rivers. We can also not forget the Battle of the Platte River, at which the Zulus were defeated by Voortrekkers led by Andries Pretorius in 1838 and dispossessed them of their land and established the Republic of Natalia. We shall also not forget the displacing of the Quran and the Sham from their land by the British in 1847. These are but not least the wars that were fought, of which I just wanted to mention a few, so that we all remember what our people have gone through in terms of protecting this land. Honorable Program Director, as traditional leaders, we believe that the Heritage Day should remind us and also bind us together as communities to make sure that we will know the roots where we come from, which will also guide where we are going as communities. So we need to acknowledge further, Honorable Program Director, that we need to enter into partnerships to be able to make sure that our communities remember who they are are able to celebrate their heritages as they should be. We are proud that this Department of Culture and Sports, in fact, sorry, this Department of Arts and Culture has engaged with the House of Traditional Leaders, and we are working on an MOU to be able to make sure that traditional leaders participate fully in the heritage celebrations. Honorable Program Director and the Deputy President of the country, I want to state that traditional leaders, Deputy President, I know that you are heading the interministerial committee that has been set up by the President to assist us in terms of looking at the issues of land, that traditional leaders are driving a program, what we call an agrarian revolution, of which we believe that it will not only be government that will assist in making sure that we resuscitate the economy, but as traditional leaders, we believe that land should be used as a catalyst towards economic development. So we have requested traditional leaders to pledge 1 million hectares of land where we are engaging with government, where we are canvassing private sector, where we are talking to commercial banks to be able to assist us with our own communities so that we can create jobs in rural communities, so that we can resuscitate that economy and create a hype of activity in rural areas. So I believe that this will assist us to be able to intervene during this recession that we are all facing as a country. So we've sent a list to all provinces that traditional leaders must pledge that land, and work has continued. We'll be launching the program, Honorable Deputy President, and I am sure you will be part of that program when we launch this agrarian revolution that has been championed by our government. Honorable President, we have made inputs to the review of Section 25 of the Constitution. I've heard the Griqua saying that they want their land back. As traditional leaders, we are also saying that all indigenous and African people, we want our land back. So as part of our submissions to this Constitutional Review Committee, we said that land must be expropriated without compensation. We said land must be taken back to our own communities. As I conclude, Honorable President, I want to thank the department for giving us this opportunity, and that as the institution of traditional leaders, we want to state that we'll be playing a much active role and also encourage this very same government to be able to start a new program, a program of alternative routes, being the cultural routes, where the department will have a calendar of all heritage and traditional celebrations that are happening throughout the country in rural communities, so that we can draw tourists to our own traditional communities. With those few words, I thank you.
Thank you, Chairperson of the National House of Traditional Leaders, Nkosu Mahlangu. Without wasting much of time, may I request that we allow a message of support from the Chairperson of the Commission for Promotion and Protection of Rights of Culture, Religious and Linguistic Communities. Mrs. Togo Mkwanazi Aluva.
Sanibonani nonke. Ngibingelele ku Deputy President wethu. Ngibingelele emakhosini akhona lana. Angisezi ukwabalula ngenxa yesikhathi. Ngibingelele kwi-leadership ekhona yala e-KZN. Ngimbonile uMinister Zulu Samuela kwi-audience. We come today to wish South Africans in general a successful Heritage Day, but specifically, we wish the Kok family, the Griqua community, and the Khoisan nation, as an extension, a very special day. We see this as the spring of their recognition and appreciation of a very important place that the Khoisan nation as a whole holds. So we are hopeful that after the Griquas, we are going to be moving on to other communities in order for us to recognize the Khoisan people. As the Civil Rights Commission, we have committed to resuscitating the culture, the religion and languages of the Khoisan people. And we're hoping, Deputy President, you will assist us to rebuild their cultures, their religion and their languages, to make sure that it's not only symbolic, but also that they actually live their heritage. We also wish on this very important day to raise the issue of Ubaba Isanusi Ukredo Mutwa owazalelwa khona la eKZN. Sizothi ke kwi-leadership yala eKZN ubaba akaphilile. Civil Rights Commission was saying Isanusi esikule level kababa is a legend. Asibone ukuthi senze njani ukuliphakamisa igama lakhe, so that we can say we have our own legends who have lived to be this particular age. So as the Civil Rights Commission again was saying, Deputy Minister, it is critical and very urgent that we do something about Ubaba Ukredo Mutwa. We owe him an apology, but we owe him a celebration on Heritage Day. Due to time constraints, we just wish to say, as the Civil Rights Commission, we remain committed to promoting and protecting all cultures, all religions, and all languages. Thank you.
Thank you very much to the chairperson of the commission. Ngiyacela, please, can we ask the group that is practicing outside to practice but lessen the noise? But also, can I also ask the people that are inside the house, they tend to really lower the noise.
Ish. I wanted this background with the kids. Eh?
Okay.
If you can tell them that I...
Can you guys hear me?
Ella?
Maybe we should get closer to the gate.
Mm-hmm.
Can you guys hear me?
I can hear you now. Yes, I can hear you.
Yeah, I can't hear anybody speaking to me.
Oh. Sorry?
as the Zulu nation will have celebrated with us in part the commemoration of King Shaka's Day. Sithi-ke kuhlanga lomhlabathi akwehlanga ulihlanga ngonyama yesizwe. Fellow South Africans, on this day, I wish to bring you a message of unity. This is unity in diversity. Unity in our families, unity in our communities, unity in our nation, and unity in our politics across all lines. As it is written and sealed in our seal of state and coat of arms, written in Khoisan language of the people, written Ham. We have to tell you, diverse people unite. For we are meeting at a time in our history when the divisions of our past, when our heightened sense of retreat to the past threatens national unity. Even though there's no need for divisions, for if we hold our hands together in addressing the imbalances of the past, we are guaranteeing the future generation a prosperous South Africa worthy of inheritance. It is understandable that human beings are prone in times of national strife, in times of bitter socio-economic hardship, in times of hard debates about land reform, to retreat very easily into narrow nationalist, racial, and ethnic enclaves. However, I stand in front of you on this day to state with conviction that this path we've chosen ourselves as a country is the correct one. It is the path that will unite all of us. It is a path that will unite our nation. And that will help us to forge one common nationhood. As it is said in the famous observation by popular philosopher Coleridge, that I quote now, "He who begins by loving Christianity better than the truth will proceed by loving his own sect or church better than Christianity, will in the end love himself better than all." Close quote. And so we are bound by human weaknesses to that which emphasizes differences instead of emphasizing common nationhood. We know that divisions can fester hopelessness. We know that where there is no unity, we seek safety amongst the like-minded instead of pursuing unity even with those with whom you differ. Fellow South Africans, let us not even for a minute doubt the power of unity as an important pillar of building an equal society that we should all strive for. Despite our fears, we must remember that the land is vast, our soil is very rich, the belly of our earth is pregnant with hope and possibilities, our minerals are overflowing, and our oceans are teeming with potential possibilities. Ours is a land of abundance. It can provide for all of us. There is enough to go around, enough to share, enough to end poverty, enough to end deprivation and all forms of want. All we must do is live up to our potential under a just and equitable system. This is what our common heritage means to us. We have enough to create wealth for all of us. We have enough to create prosperity. We have enough to create opportunities and development for all our people. This is what our stalwarts, our former President Nelson Mandela and Mama Albertina Sisulu envisaged. This is what we must accomplish as a nation. Yet, our people still cannot sow to reap. They cannot work the land to own it. They have no means of production and no heritage to fully embrace and benefit from. We must refuse to hold title to a past rooted in pain. We must never allow ourselves to be beholden to the pains of yesterday, more than we are to the promises of a better tomorrow. We must never be so bound fast to days that are gone. We cannot see the infinite possibility of a new dawn. We must never be blinded by the hate and fear to the very promise of a united, non-racial, non-sexist, just and a prosperous country that our forebears fought so hard to attain. On this Heritage Day, as we consider the distance that we have traveled as a people, as a nation, it will be apt to search very deep within the reservoirs of our souls for the dream that Nelson Mandela lived for the dream that Mama Sisulu lived for and fought for throughout their lives. As we consider debates on the richest sources of our pride and heritage, as we consider models to redress land dispossession and how to make meaningful land reform, we must ask whether we can cultivate a common heritage that will ultimately lead us to a single nationhood. On this Heritage Day, we must commit to a journey of unity and struggle for a common nationhood. We must remember the rich heritage of the struggle and sacrifices of all our leaders, traditional leaders, such as kings, King Shaka and Adam Cook, who fought against colonialism. We must remember the heritage of South African women like Umama Sulu and the late Edna Molewa, which teaches us of the importance of unity in pursuance of a common future, in pursuance of a common goal that is founded on humanity and equality. On this Heritage Day, we stand united in our diversity as we remember how we came to believe in the possibility of a united, non-racial, non-sexist, just and a prosperous South Africa. We must remember and believe in the brave battles fought by our legendary kings and queens, King Shaka, Queen Mantatese, King Sekhukhune, you can name them, many of them. We must remember and celebrate the ancient civilization of Mapungube and their infinite ties to the rest of Africa and the rest of the world. and the fib they make of the history of the African development. It is these elements of our civilization that we should develop and hold high, hold it so dear as anchors of tourism. For it is right to remember these struggles and triumph so that we too can believe in building a united country. Perhaps too, we are bound to the memory and struggles of these great South Africans. If nothing else, we must avoid the insidious repetition of history and the endless bounds of human cruelty and marginalization that were endured by some whilst affecting prosperity of others. We must also remember the heritage of those who bravely fought in the South African wars. Some perished at the sinking of the SS Mendi, yet others perished in the battles of Delville Hood. Their remit was to fight for our dignity, to plead for humanity, and to communicate our sage commitment to a common humanity. Their efforts, rebuffed as they were, remain a lodestar to our common destiny and to our common humanity. But we remember too the bloodshed between the British and the Afrikaner on these very shores. We must remember that they too counted the descendants of the Dutch, the descendants of the French, the descendants of the British settlers, the fortune hunters, the gold diggers, and the cane cutters who came here either to seek wealth or out of richness of our land or as laborers. They all are part of us as we are part of them. We relate to their history as they should relate to our history of all dispossessed people. On this day, let us remember our heritage. It is in a manner that will unite all South Africans in our diversity. We're quite aware that we are different people, but we are one nation. Let us carry ourselves with grace. Let us carry ourselves with dignity, and not the agonies and accumulated burdens of past rooted in pain. Let us remember that the dissemination of African values and colonial disruptions of the African way of life. But let us recognize and celebrate one another. Let us share in the change that is yet to come, and change will come. On this Heritage Day, let us remind each other of the complexities of our heritage. Let us share and let us teach each other about the journey that we have traveled together as a people. For us to arrive to where we are today, for us to arrive at our freedom, for us to arrive at our democracy. Let us speak about the future. Let us speak about the steps and the difficult road that we must travel together. Let us remind one another that as a person's heritage should not be exclusionary, but be all-embracing of others. As we celebrate this important day, we must confront with determination the historical fault lines and injustices that continue to threaten our peace, that continue to threaten our stability, so that we can finally move forward as one people, one nation, and one South Africa founded on shared values. If we do not confront these fault lines, this reality that is confronting us, and the sad state of affairs, we will just be burying our heads in the sand and causing a huge source of frustration and resentment to all our people, those who were brutally dispossessed of their land. Today's gloomy day must end, and a new dawn must rise. I want to take this opportunity to wish you all a memorable National Heritage Day. To the local municipality, to the district municipality, to the leadership of the two institutions, to the leadership of the province, we salute you for choosing this place today to celebrate our heritage. It will remain in our history. It is a very important giant step in the right direction. Have a good day. Thank you very much.
Halala, Deputy President, halala. Halala, Deputy President, halala. All right, I was just taking instructions.